Yo, what's good everybody? Hope y'all been doing well. First video of 2024, so happy new year to y'all. In this video, I'm going to be showing y'all how you can make placement ready dark beats for artists like Lil Durk, and I'm going to be showing the process of how you'd make a beat like this from scratch. So with all that being said, let's just jump right into it.
Roll up, Tess.
So as you can tell by listening to it, it's pretty similar to his song Hellcats and Trackhawks, and it kind of follows the same general pattern of most of his dark beats, where you start with a piano melody and just add layers from there. For this loop and beat, I use a tempo of 156 beats per minute. So starting off with the piano, I got the Grandeur bank from Contact and put these settings on it. So going into the first piano MIDI, you can pretty much see it's just this first two measures here, and it's just repeated for the rest of the pattern. So overall, it's a pretty simple pattern. I wanted to leave plenty of room to add depth with the other layers, so I didn't want to make the first top melody too complicated. So I'm just going to delete all of this, and I'll just make the pattern again from scratch. For reference, I'm making this loop in the key of D sharp minor. If any of this theory doesn't make any sense to you, I just recently uploaded a video on music theory, so go check that out. That'll help if you get lost with this one. Like I said, this loop is in the key of D sharp minor, so I'm going to start with the fifth note in the scale, which is A sharp, and then I'm just going to move it up to the root note of the scale, which is D sharp, and put it right about here. I'm pretty much only using the second and third notes in the scale, which are F and F sharp, and put them in sequence that sounds something like this. Then after I had that, I brought this over and just kind of reversed the pattern that this goes in. And I thought that was a pretty decent basis, so I copied this over, and then I wanted to switch it up a little bit, so I just deleted that and moved this backwards, extended those notes. I pretty much just have this repeating for the full 8 measures. Then I copied this A sharp down to the root note and just had this repeating every 2 measures. Then I took these, copied them over, moved them up a couple half steps here, and then moved these up here, and then just took these and reversed them. Then I randomized the velocities and just adjusted some things here and there, which gives me this final pattern, which sounds like this. For effects on this, I just put on this Portal preset just to give the piano a little bit of texture. And then I put on RC20 on the Vinyl 3 to put a little detune on it. And I also turned on the space so it add more reverb to it. So for my next melody sound, I went to Flex and got the Ace of Space guitar preset. And I just went in here and put a super simple counter melody. And similar to the last one, I just made the first two and just copied it over for the second half here. So after those first two melodies, I then went to Keyscape and got this LA Custom Cinematic preset. And with this, I just put in some really high top notes just to counter what we already have with the piano and guitar. Then I took that same piano preset and put in some bass notes, and I just have them hitting on D sharp on the lower octaves. So for my last couple melody sounds, I used Arcade, specifically the Rubicon bank. I just have this pretty simple accent that I just made using it. And then I just have another one because I opened up another Arcade and just put it an octave up, and that sounds something like this. So putting all that together, this is what the entire finished sample sounds like. So after I'd finished all the parts of the sample, I arranged it and then I rendered it out as an audio clip. Then I opened up a new arrangement by going up to the top of the playlist here, clicking on this. Originally it said arrangement 1, but I renamed it. Then I went down and clicked add 1. And in this new arrangement, I put in all my drums and pretty much just did the final beat in here. So I dropped the audio clip in here, as you can see from the top part here. After I double click on it, I set the mode to stretch. In case I did change the tempo, the sample would stay the same length. And then I pitched it down by 1/2 step or -100 cents. So the drums in the final beat are in the key of D minor. So starting off with the first drum sound, I just have a rim shot, which acts as like my primary clap or snare. I just have it on the middle or third note of each measure. Then I grabbed a hi-hat sound and I put in a pretty simple but kind of bouncy hi-hat pattern where it's kind of similar to a two-step, but you can see that I took out some of the notes, either replaced them with the rolls or just left them empty. This is just to leave room for some of the other drum sounds, and it just fit the bounce of the rest of the sample. And I made all these rolls by using the paintbrush tool up here and then using the 1/3 step snap to grid. Then for my next drum pattern, I put down my open hat and a reverse open hat. It's just the same open hat sound, I just reversed it so it leads into one of the snare hits. With the hi-hats in the rim, it currently sounds like this. So now moving on to the 808, this is the first of 3 different patterns. The only real difference between all of them is the ending, like the last couple measures. For the most part, the rest of the notes are pretty much the same. All of these are hitting on the root note or D. So putting it together with the drums, this is what the first 808 pattern sounds like. As for the second pattern, I think I just took out a couple notes here and there, and then I just have this part at the end here, which is just another roll. By the way, this little stutter roll that I have right here is using the 1/2 step snap to grid. And then for the last 808 pattern, it's an exact copy of the last one, but instead of having that last roll there, I just filled it in with a normal note. Also, just to catch more of that Hellcats and Trackhawks vibe, I also put in a reverse 808 here, and that reverse 808 sounds something like this. In context with the pattern, it sounds like this. And to make this effect, it's actually pretty simple. So all you have to do is open up your 808 sound and then just drag it into the playlist here. As is, it'll sound like this. And so the first thing I want to do is reverse it. And now we're going to pitch this to the rest of the beat. So I'm going to go up to the pitch knob here and put it up by plus 200 cents or 2 half steps. The reason I'm pitching up 2 half steps is because you have to pitch up the 808 2 half steps to get to D. So now that we have this reverse, I kind of just want to sync it up where this first hit hits about the same spot as when the 808 hits. So it'll sound like this. Not so much like this. I don't want this to extend all the way out here because it's going to interfere with this first 808 hit. So I'm going to roll this off here and then use Alt and click to bypass the grid and then slowly just slope it back up. And then you can adjust this to your liking. I think I just put it a little bit shallow here. And if you don't know how to enable this, you just go up to the top left of your playlist. It's this little fade settings thing right here. So originally it'll be grayed out. You just have to left click on it to turn it on. So right now we got something that sounds like this. So that's cool, but I kind of want that exact vibe. So I'm going to go up to here and change the range to 12, change the mode to stretch, and then put the pitch up by 1 octave. Also, one last thing I forgot to cover was putting this little brass in at the end. This just gives the sample a little bit more depth and kind of fills out the sound of the beat a little more. And so putting it all together, this is pretty much what the final beat sounds like.